Hurricane Jova.
Hurricane Jova.
Hurricane Jova.
On Hurricane Jova, it has continued to rapidly intensify and is now up to Category 5 status.
It will bring high surf to beaches across Southern California.
Hey, we're in Coronado. We are surfing some hurricane swell, and we're excited. So we got a hurricane in the water. It's just a unique thing to Coronado. You know, nobody would even think of it, but we're on base here, and the base aims due south.
Coronado does have an interesting shape, almost like pork chop or something. It curves. So we're on the beach right now, North Island, which is a military Navy base where a lot of Top Gun was filmed. Right?
A lot of Top Gun. Yeah,
so
definitely the beach scenes.
Because it faces south, right? What are we feeling right now?
No, it's kind of like this, right? It's like a fish hook, you know, and like right here is North Island, so it faces due south. And so the thing is that the swell's coming up just like this, and it's hitting this beach, but it's kind of not hitting this beach. So if you're in Imperial Beach, which is 5-10 miles south of here, it's 2 to 3 feet. But right now, it's about 8 to 10 foot on the face. And it's fairly powerful. There's some broken boards by the trash cans. It's incredible.
And if anything, anyone's going to know is the surfers, right? The surfer community know where the power is.
You know, there's people walking on the beach just as a matter of fact. Wow, it's really interesting and nice out there. But the surfers are out there. They've been in force, 200 people in the water since 6 a.m. And it's been that way consistently. It's pretty heavy out there right now. And, you know, being a surfer, having that experience, knowing about the ocean, and then working with wave energy conversion devices, this is why these conditions right here is why I feel you got to be on the shore. Because out in the ocean right now, you know, just offshore right now, there's a bunch of boats that are just sitting there, bobbing up and down, bobbing up and down. And there's a little bit of power you can extract from that, but it's not going to snap your board. It's not going to rock your world. It's not going to be 8 foot tall. Right now, everyone's just sitting out there on those boats, reading books, having some breakfast, just relaxing. But on shore, it's a chaotic, powerful, totally different world. That's why you want to put machinery on the shore. Not only because you save on maintenance, but that's where you get the energy. And that's where it happens. On the shore is the way to go.
We're on Coronado. It's a famous island. There's Hotel del Coronado. Can you walk me through what your life has been like on this island? Because I know you've gone through a lot here, right?
I've gone through a lot on Coronado. On this base, not too much. I've flown out of here to go on deployments, but mostly south of here, I've done a ton of training. So I've run up and down this beach. I've probably swam 100 miles on just in the surrounding area, you know, 5 miles from here. I more or less lived here for 2 decades.
What was it here when you said you were swimming and there was a big ship?
So on the bay side, we were swimming, there's a huge ship, and we were diving, and we could hear the rotors, and then all of a sudden, you know, like boom, 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 boom. That's where they give us the recall devices. One recall device is to come up, and when they throw multiple, it means go down to the bottom and suck mud. And so we were down there, you know, and you could just hear the ship just boop, 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 boop. And yeah, it just sounded like,
it was like,
like a skyscraper was falling down on top of us, you know.
What kind of ship was it?
It's
actually a container ship?
It's actually a car delivery ship. It goes straight from Japan to here, and you see it come in about every 10 days.
And you guys were under it?
And we weren't under it, but the dive supervisor at that time, I think, was a little bit not paying attention. Most likely telling some stories, you know, like Navy SEALs are wont to do.
Yeah.
And kind of lost his way a little bit, and next thing you know, we were kind of going towards the wrong way. So yeah,
that would have been scary. What kind of wildlife have you seen in the ocean? How close?
You know, I've seen manta rays, I've seen whale sharks, I've seen whales, I've seen leopard sharks, I've seen hammerheads, I've seen elephant seals. I've been chased out of the water by them. I've ridden on waves with dolphins and harbor seals. And while I've been diving, I've had harbor seals kind of rush up against us really close, almost like buzzing us, like they're messing with us. And they're intelligent animals. And you might see them on TV and they might look cute and they might look cuddly because a seal kind of looks like a Labrador dog. But they got some teeth that are no joke. And when you're underwater and you're swimming, yeah, you don't want any part of that. Dolphins are super cool, and there's some training here. And, we were there waiting for some guys to go through like a dive cycle. One pair would go, then another pair would go. We were kind of doing this, simulated attack on a ship where we're all taking these turns. And while we were waiting, there's these dolphin pens. And the guy's like, yeah, you can go take a look, man. And he's kind of walking us through like, yeah, this one's well trained. Yeah, this one's new. She's not doing that great. Like this one's like, he's really stable, but he's kind of getting old. He's like, this one's like a juvenile. And he's got a huge attitude, and he's actually like kind of bruised the ribs of some guys. And I'm like, so you need to be really careful next to him. And I'm like walking by and I'm like looking at it. Dolphin like looks like he's like asleep, and I'm like, dude, like, is there something wrong with this dolphin? He's like, yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with him. Be careful. He does it on purpose. And I was like, what? And as I look back down, like you could see this dolphin like kind of rolling over, and it gave me a look like, come on down, dude. Show me what you got. Like hop in the water. It was like a dolphin gave me a look like a 14-year-old that was going to get ready to like start a fight with me or something. It was pretty cool.
I didn't believe you when you first told me, but the Navy does train.
That's right.
They train dolphins, right? What do they do with the dolphins?
Well, they train the dolphins to retrieve mines and ordnance at depth, right? Because dolphins, they're smart, they can see what's going on, and there's no limitations to, how often they can, dive down, stuff like that, right? Similar to like a Labrador dog retrieving a ball, just kind of same notion, right? They can also attack divers as well. There's rumors that the Russians did the same exact thing, but with killer whales.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't know if that's real. It's cool to kind of like wonder if they did do that, unless you're the diver getting attacked by a killer whale.
Yeah, I imagine.
Let's talk about this hurricane swell for a second.
Yeah.
What makes the swell here? So this beach, for all intents and purposes, as you look at it surfing wise, beautiful beach, but surfing wise, it's a horrible beach for about 355 days out of the year. But when we get hurricanes and we get them in the right window, moving in the right direction, at the right size, it transforms this beach into something absolutely special.
Do you know the name of the hurricane in Baja River?
The hurricane is Jova, right? And so this hurricane right now is not too big, but it's pretty good. It's got great shape. It's a really nice waves breaking right now. But the thing is you can't just have swell. You gotta have shape, and you gotta have some sandbars. Now the sandbars here are not greatly developed. So then what you need something to break up the monotony of the waves. And North Island is exactly that. In the olden days, it used to be an island, but with a strip in the middle. And in that strip, it's deeper and it extends out to the ocean. And then also, seaward of North Island, there's like a sandbar, and that's where some ships are anchored. And what happens is when this hurricane swell comes straight in the way it does, it jams up into that deep water channel in between North Island and Coronado proper, and then it also rubs up against that sandbar off to sea, and that's what breaks up that hurricane swell and makes it from one flat breaking wave into really, really nice peaks. And that's just something that Andres and I understand that most people kind of don't understand or don't get, that you wouldn't really take into consideration unless you've spent, the majority of your life in the water surfing and actually spending a lot of time, an immense time out in the water.
So with this event, this hurricane swell that's coming through Coronado, imagine if there was a breakwave system out here, what kind of energy would we be seeing right now?
Oh, that's a great question. So, looking at the swell that we would get right now, and setting up, even just one unit, we would be able to gather enough energy from this one day, probably power the entire base, or just with one unit, probably until this time next week. That would include the machinery, that would include all the lights, what have you. If you took all the wave volume, it would be enough to probably fill the entirety of San Diego Bay. There's enough wave power hitting the shoreline right now.
That's awesome.
So something else about this base, which is needs to be understood, and taking a look at waves and being able to gather energy, but also being intelligent enough to say like, hey, should we put it here or there or here? Is that another thing that adds a little bit of the power to these waves is the fact that you have a microclimate. The winds are actually onshore, but they gather around Point Loma and then brush up against it and blow out to sea here. So it's actually opposite of everything else, where it's onshore, but here it's offshore. And also in the process of that, it's some of the winds that are gathered inward, and so they're really dry. And so this area right here is a lot sunnier. There's a lot more UV light coming in. It's a lot hotter, and the waves they're almost in a way kind of glowing because there's a lot more light coming in on them. And it's just substantially different everywhere else, where if you just went 5 miles north of here, you would have a reversal of the winds, and you would have more moisture in the air. You'd have density. The picture taking wouldn't be as sharp. The waves wouldn't be as powerful. And so that's another thing that we kind of bring to the table, is like a really, really down to the earth experiential understanding of what's going on with the ocean. And the ocean's powerful. It wants to destroy everything that you try to do in it. And if you don't have that type of knowledge, putting stuff and putting equipment in the ocean you're taking a huge gamble.
So yeah, Coronado doesn't get too foggy, does it? Is that why?
Coronado does get fog.
Does it?
But in the afternoons, in situations like this, where you have that standard ocean breeze, it's, you get the opposite of the effect here, because it's facing due south.
Oh, okay.
And so that's how you get that kind of microcosm of climate. So you were taking some, how did it feel just south of here earlier today? Kind of cool, a little bit of
nice breeze. Yeah.
But the breeze is going here, but the breeze is hot. It's probably 5 to 10 degrees warmer with that breeze here.
Yeah, I'm sweating right now.
You're sweating. You're on the surface one.
Well, no, I gotta learn how to surf. Just south of us is Imperial Beach. And I know they're having a lot of issues with erosion, and they're losing their coastline. What's that all about?
Whoa, that's a big one. The former mayor of Imperial Beach, and both of his kids surf really well. And his name will come to me later. We can talk about that. But what he said is, he wanted to let all of the houses down there kind of erode into the ocean, and people lost their minds. And understandably so. Let's say you own a beachfront property, it's worth $1 million, and then everybody understands that the mayor's going to let it fall into the ocean. You're not going to be able to get insurance for that. You're not going to get it rebuilt. All of a sudden, your $1 million home turns into a $200,000 resale.
Yeah.
And so, that's a huge deal. You're not going to be able to will it to your kids and, all sorts of stuff. Then the option there is like, let's put some jetties in, let's put some breakwaters, let's put some jetty walls there, right? What have you, some quay walls. Well, those things actually sometimes increase the erosion. So, you're looking for an immediate solution, but it's actually increasing the long-term problem. What they need to do to alleviate the problem down there is they need to dredge sand, and they need to dredge a lot of it. But dredging has its own drawbacks as well. And that is, you're using an enormous amount of energy to replenish the beach with sand. One of the things we could offer is we could take the actual energy that is causing the erosion, we can decrease it by allowing less energy to reach the shore. And then we can take that energy, use it to power dredging machines, and replenish the shore with renewable energy. So, we've been working with something lately. I get a LinkedIn comments and LinkedIn requests for business and what have you. And I got one the other day from a former student of mine. Hey, I'm in politics. How's it going? I love what you're doing with Wave Energy. I could absolutely help, which was awesome. It was great. And, in my mind, I'm like, okay, I should definitely talk to him, but he's in Pennsylvania. I don't know how much you can do, how much you can help, but listen, every conversation could be a conversation closer. So, I end up talking to, his name is Brenton Davis, great guy. And he ends up talking to me going listen, we're in Pennsylvania. We have plastics manufacturing. We have metal fabrication. We have boat building. We've got an ocean-going port on Lake Erie that can reach anywhere in the world. We've got 90 miles of lakefront with pretty good wave action. So there's, plenty of testing can take place there. Yeah, we're going to make a pretty big push here to Pennsylvania. And I know that's probably completely, totally opposite of what anyone would think of when it comes to wave energy conversion is one of the Great Lakes. But, it's not where you want to go. what's available and you make do with what you got. And actually, you know, the more we look at it, the Great Lakes and Pennsylvania is a fantastic opportunity, and it's almost tailor-made for the state that we're at right now with the company.
Last one. So today, how you're surfing? You're gonna be out here the whole day?
I'm going to be out here the whole day.
How many sessions? You just go in and out, surf, break, eat.
Yeah, so you know, I surfed from 6 to about 8. And I took a little 10-minute break, and then I surfed from about I'm gonna go surf. Probably take a 40-minute break in 2 or 3 hours. Then I'm gonna surf till dark.